you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
Good morning and good morning. Welcome to today's edition of Island Tea. Yes, I'm back. Sorry about my little hiatus, but duty calls, as the movie would claim, okay? This is Island Tea. It is just about 7 minutes after the hour of 8. It is January the 8th, actually, so it's 7 past 8 on January the 8th. It's Thursday. Just to remind you, we're being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, Facebook, YouTube. We are on your FM dial at 98.9. Our local number, if you wish to bring something pressing to the fore, joining on the conversation is 466-0989, 1-305-921-4619, 1-718-285-6984, or 0333-440065 in the UK. Good morning, Quint. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, and glad you're back today. You had me pulling this train 2 straight days, one behind the other, you know.
Sorry, but life.
I know how it is.
But I've been looking at you and I see you can hold your own, so don't worry. When you think I'm not on, I'm on. I'm saying good morning to folks, and so once I get a chance, I am looking. I was chatting up with Quint this morning, but Quint seemed like to have, over the 2 days, have touched everything that has been going on, because I wanted to touch on the Trinidad Prime Minister talking about trade with the U.S. opposed to trade with Venezuela. As she said, trade with the U.S. is billions, but with the Venezuela is 0.00 whatever. And I also saw I wanted to discuss Venezuela oil reserves because I see they have the largest in the world. I remember Quint mentioning that. Gaston Brown talking overseas medical help, they've been having issues with the Cuban and the Ghanaians and stuff.
You should elaborate a little bit on that one, because yesterday I wasn't too sure whether he had signed on. I had heard a news clip on our station that said that, I think it was on our station that said he was telling the Antiguan people that he had not signed on as yet, but you're saying that you've come across an article that says he has signed on.
You mean to take the refugees?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have that, and then with the medical team that I was asking him about, I think I mentioned it last year about him sending back some of the Cubans. he also spoke on something of that, saying that the United States said this is what they have to do, but they're not going to do it right away, because if they do that, the medical system would crumble. But he mentioned having a...
But why do you have to do it? This is the thing. Why you can't tell these people to go and
Ooh.
you know? I mean, this is your country, your sovereign country. Why are these people telling you to do things that they know is detrimental to your health system and you acquiesce? Why? It does not make any sense whatsoever. And when you do that, then there's a question to everything else that you say you do, and you give us half of a story where you're now saying you're only taking refugees that the United States don't want. But we have information that says the United States isn't just kicking out refugees. The United States is sending out unwanted criminals and people with mental problems. You understand?
We don't need that over
And
here.
we don't need those over here.
Over here, anywhere in the Caribbean, that's their...
So these leaders are coming and giving their citizens half-truths. And you know half-truths are really propaganda, what you call propaganda, where you mix truth with lies.
Okay, let me play this one.
It's been very hostile with this. We have the risk, and we have to manage risk. Again, it's been very hostile with this relationship with Cubans. And by having Ghanaians as part of the healthcare delivery, we're implementing, but at the same time, diversity and risk. If the United States is a very firm position, they're going to in Cuban nurses. And then we had to return them to Havana. Our healthcare plunged into a crisis. However, the Cubans, the Ghanaians, is going to be a median strategy. As you know, we now have a program at UE5 Islands, which will have probably maybe up to 50, 55 nurses a year, because you're going to split up qualifying. So I expect within the next years, we should be able to face both the Cubans and the Ghanaians rely exclusively on local talent. In any case, not taking any decisions to get rid of the Cubans. We want to make sure that, notwithstanding the geopolitical challenges between Cuba and the United States, remain a friendly nation with Cuba. At the end of the day, we're all part of the Caribbean. We have citizens in Cuba who have been trained as doctors and engineers, architects, and it's in our interest to pursue any hostile relationship with Cuba or any other nation for that matter. So we'll be very responsible in which we deal with these Cuban officials, make sure we put in a place. We have put in a place that their involvement here doesn't involve any form of human trafficking. That's the issue, primary issue with the United States. But again, having these Ghanaian nurses is a form of diversification to guard against potential risk in the future.
Well, at least, and I must commend you, because this is his voice. This is him speaking. That's one.
And that's from the ABS news program.
Yes,
So
but he
let me
did
just
say they
that.
haven't made a decision as to kicking out the
But
Cubans.
he says if they put pressure on them.
Yeah, well, you see, this is why we keep saying the Caribbean needs to get united. The Caribbean leaders need to get together as one body, and when I say the Caribbean leaders, I mean the Caribbean, including Latin America. The Caribbean need to get together and in one voice say to the United States, you do not tell us what is in our best interest. You understand? In one voice, do that. But the problem is, when you stand isolated, that is what you're going to be faced with. Hello, caller?
Our best interest. Understand? In one voice.
Hello,
do that.
caller?
But the problem is,
Caller, please when you tune in, listen to your telephone and not the radio, your radio or any other apparatus. Hello?
Thank you for your reminder, Quinn. Good morning.
Good morning.
The thing.
All the
thing
best,
is, I
all the
understand
best to
always-
you for the new year.
Oh, same to you and both of you.
Thank you.
I wish you health and strength and all the blessings that will be able to restore on you and your family.
Same to you.
But I don't understand the passion of which you feel and what you're thinking, but we have to look beyond those areas and see But the reality is money. That is the whole thing behind it. Up to now, not one of them tell you how much money they will be getting per person from the U.S. But money is in it.
You really think they're gonna pay? They're gonna pay them to take them, or
They do.
that's just part
It's
of
about
them
money.
having their
It's about
visa?
money.
No, they usually do. Part of
It's
the
about
agreement
money.
is that you accept them and they will give you some monies, whether to house them and
but they're not
maintain
telling
them.
you- they're not
Gaston
telling you-
said in
they're
a
not-
statement.
Like Quinn said before,
Mhm.
they're giving the truth, but not giving the whole truth. Is that you cover any whole thing with a bunch of lies. The whole thing is about money. And right now, most of the Caribbean countries, the tank are running low on money. And most of them employ most of the population, most of the government
The
are
government
too
employ most of the
overpopulated with employment.
Yeah.
They are running heavy, and so therefore they need to generate income.
But do you think if it
And
was
they
about
see an
money?
opportunity and they're grabbing it.
But do you think if it was money, because the Antiguan Prime Minister made a statement and said he can only take 10 per year, you think if it's about money, he wouldn't try to take more than 10?
That is why he's saying to open the door.
Okay.
Once the foot is in the door,
Yeah.
then he could do what he wants, but he could tell the people anything.
That's what they tend
To
to
staff cushion it, but his money.
Okay.
It's all about money. If you, I'd say, oh man, just let me get in a little bit. Just let me, my foot get in a little bit. Where long my whole body's in.
Even
Come on,
if,
you know,
even-
you know the thing works.
even years ago, when the individual who is now the King of England, remember when he was a whatever prince or duke or whatever, and
prince.
he came to the Caribbean some years ago proposing putting Jamaica. He went proposing putting a prison there, and they would offer them X amount of money and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and Jamaica turned it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
they
but you
always
remember-
there's always money somewhere in it.
Sorry, Quint, you know, we used to send prisoners to Antigua
Yes, that's way back, man. That's
when we had the Leeward Island Police Force.
yeah, that's
Antigua
way
used to take our long-term prisoners. Sure, that happened, but so it's not anything new that prisoners
But that
be
is-
moving
but-
around
but
from one
this
area
is-
to another with
but-
negotiation of money.
But that is different. We are, when it comes to the Caribbean, we are a regional body. We are kind of a family, so that's a whole different ball game still.
I agree, but at the same time, the whole idea, I don't see them moving into there without they got some financial benefit,
And I agree.
some kind of leverage in terms of visa or something, but it's a negotiation with they're not saying.
Yeah, they never give
They're
us
not
the full
saying.
story.
And that is why most people spend so much time speculating because of lack of information.
That's it. Yeah,
They hold everything right to the chest. They hold any card to the chest like it's their cards.
yeah. A whole different.
They're not being true to the people.
A whole difference too. You see how we played the clip with Mia Motley, who came straight out and put her cards on the table. You know.
Those are these are some of the serious problems we have.
Yeah.
Our people are too holding cards too close to the chest and not telling the people exactly what they're doing. If you tell the people what they're doing, they could move along with you. But
That's it.
they just, I don't know. I don't know. Quint, have a good day.
Same
Yeah.
to you.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Listen to your. Yeah. Turn off your.
Caller, good
radio.
morning. You're live on LNT.
Hi, good morning, Queen. Good morning, for 10th there.
Morning,
Good
how are
day to
you?
you, Africa. All the best for the new year. If we haven't wished you already.
Yes, and also yesterday I trying to get in because apart from the New Year, there are certain parts of the world, the religious world, in terms of the Christian denomination, the Orthodox Christian family celebrated yesterday. So in Ethiopia, you will say Melkam Gena, which is the equivalent to say Happy Christmas, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, yeah, but Quint,
Yes.
you recall and contested that some of these colonies in the Caribbean and far field, like Australia, they actually was established as penal colonies.
Yes, especially Australia. That is how Australia actually started.
So when you hear the touting of the Monroe Doctrine, because of President Monroe who established that sort of doctrine, and you will hear about the doctrine of discovery. Now, the Monroe Doctrine has morphed into what President Trump wants to call it, because he's the one who mentioned it and said the Monroe Doctrine.
Yeah.
In the etymology of his first,
Meaning the Donald Trump doctrine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it is interesting though to see that they are. I don't know how selective they're doing it, because we know Barbuda in Antigua was like a colony that was established for breeding the large female and
slaves.
male.
Yeah.
Continue the workforce on the plantation.
Yeah.
And a colony like Barbados and maybe St. Kitts and Nevis, we was established for like Nevis and St. Kitts. Nevis had the first hotel in the Caribbean. And the British, they will travel for months to come across to soothe themselves and get therapeutic healing in the water, the back spring water.
Yeah, the bad
Over
hotel.
in Nevis. Okay? So let us walk our people through, and those who are listening and keen to history, to see that these things are raising their ugly heads again on us. It is interesting, though, that I followed the news last night, and there was an oil tanker that kind of invaded, the landing of the Americans on it.
Yes.
And it reached all the way up in the North Atlantic, close to England and Ireland. And for some reason, it was known as the Bella one. I think it changed its name as the new state to Marina, something of that nature.
Yeah.
But now it seems like, according to Marco Rubio, it seems like the British, the French, and the Americans was able to land on it. But now there is this huge Russian submarine that came up out of the water. Just in front of it is like, to let them know that they are there, they was there, and it's like the oil tanker became stationary.
So that is interesting, because yesterday I was trying to follow that story, and it was rather conflicting because some were saying they had evaded, and then others were saying the U.S. had captured it. So what is the final story as far as that is concerned?
Well, actually, the U.S. was able to land on it, but Marco Rubio, he only went that far. There are other things at play, because, you see, the old piracy and the old penal colonies and the like, it's like
But you know what?
it's showing a modern face.
You know what that says, Africa, and Mr. McMahon alluded to it yesterday. You went into Venezuela, you took out their leader and his wife, you said you're going to run the country, but everything in the country is still virtually the same in terms of the ruling body and that kind of stuff. And you're out there still capturing ships. We have on record Marco Rubio saying we have sanctions and they're not going to be able to distribute and process the oil until they acquiesce or they give in to our will. So what is really happening? Have you taken over? Or again, is this a bunch of propaganda? It seems as if, they have captured the leader and his wife, but in terms of controlling the country, they're trying to give propaganda, hoping that some internal unrest will come and they will overthrow the internal government, and then America can then decide what happens, which is the way how propaganda works.
But they do have a bit of internal unrest, because people are looking for people that support the Trump regime to take them out. I saw something on the news about that.
Well, what do you expect? Don't you expect that is going to happen?
Yeah.
Quinn,
Yeah. You're breaking your
You're
muzzle,
breaking up, Africa.
your muffled. So see if you can adjust your voice so it. Sometimes it's not so clear.
Okay.
Okay.
It should be clear now. I had,
Yeah.
I had on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, one have to know to say, okay, one will say that at one time Venezuela was a democracy. That would be said, but the Venezuela internal governance, it is what you call a constitutional continuity. When Delcy Rodriguez made her first appearance, she passed over a document to the Supreme Court president as like the roadmap forward that Maduro would have known or felt that after what Trump offered him and he turned it down.
And he turned it down.
Something would have impressed upon him.
Hold a second there, because that point again is very valid, because people need to know Trump had offered him certain things in terms of, because this is what Maduro had said to Trump. Trump, look, and this is documented. He had said to Trump, look, if it's oil you want, we don't have a problem. We have more than enough. We could give you oil, we could still give China oil, and and so forth. But Trump didn't want that. Trump wants all. Go ahead, Africa.
Yes. So this constitutional continuity was already signed and was passed over by Delcy Rodriguez, and she keeps saying that she is the vice president. Maduro, Nicolas Maduro Moras is still the leader and so forth. And she passed over a document to the president of the Supreme Council of Supreme Court Council, indicating that he, the president of the Supreme Court, would sign on to that was passed from the vice president as to the continuity of who will take over from this person, and so forth and so forth.
Yes.
So that is how the fabric of that system is established.
Yes. They have a name for it. When Maduro spoke, he would say I think it's the Bolivarian something. And this goes back to Chavez, when Chavez...
And he didn't go back to the Simon Bolivar, but Chavez, he revised it.
Yes, yes. And
that is why
he revised it when he nationalized their oil and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And that is why something egregious happened in Venezuela, which we are overlooking, when they bombed his mausoleum, where his mortal remains probably would have lied, or where they would have established a sort of monument.
Well, we weren't aware of that. We weren't. Repeat that. I wasn't aware of that. They bombed the mausoleum where...
out of the bombings that they did, the different areas that they target to bomb, they bombed former President Chavez mausoleum.
Do you think that was intentional?
Yes, it would be intentional.
Yes, it was intentional. Because they know how that continuity would continue.
And I'll tell you
and
why.
They would lay the blame on him to say, well, this continuity is embedded in the system, that I'm going to take out Maduro, but someone is going to step up to the fold to continue.
Yeah, but and Africa, also to show how malicious they are and how they intend to try their utmost to malign and belittle Maduro. I saw a clip yesterday where, while they were transporting him to his hearing, in the big truck that he was in, the big van, they had him sitting down there in shackles. Anyone can go on the internet and you'll find it. And you see them going.
The door was open.
The door is wide open, and you're going in the street.
Exposure. Like full exposure.
Yeah, and people in the street saying, yeah, USA, USA. And I'm thinking, you know what they want? They want some fool to take a sniper shot or something like that. And I'm saying, look, the world is seeing the United States of America, and the world is seeing the West in its true colors.
I would say this, Quint. If Maduro was not as
strong as he is,
popular, he probably would have had his 58% majority. he has become even stronger now. They have
Yeah.
made a more hero out of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Because a Venezuelan lady say, in the U.S., the Venezuelan lady say, and rightly so, she said that, okay, this is the camp over here, the Venezuelan camp. But the Venezuelan lady is saying, all of those people in the street, they are not Americans, they are not Venezuelans. So the whole world is rallying against, behind, the kidnapping of Maduro.
Yeah. Did you see the British Parliament where it seems as if the British Prime Minister is so embarrassed by what is happening? Because remember, Britain had pulled away their assistance in helping with the things that was happening after they started to wantonly just blow up and kill people in the Caribbean. It seems as if
Yes.
the leader is now so embarrassed that he did not go. He sent his foreign minister to represent him in the House of Parliament. And if you see,
Yes.
how they tore her to pieces, even some of her own members, right? Man, go on the internet and you'll see that, yeah.
I saw it. And the British Parliament is a parliament to really watch.
Yes, it is.
Because, okay, you're going to say, all right, we're former colonies and we, came out of the British thing because of the constitution and the non-binding constitution, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when you look at the British Parliament and you see how robust it is, and the parliamentarians making their points, in that British accent and so forth, it comes across as something to watch. I think that British Parliament was somewhat of a model of other parliaments that people will watch it and to see how the debate unfolds.
Yeah. See
So
how
forth.
after she speaks, somebody gets up and asks her a question, and then after she speaks, she sits down. Then everybody in the parliament get up. Someone starts to speak. The rest of them sit down. See, they ask their question. Then that person sit down. She gets up again. I mean, it's good
loud.
to watch.
Sometimes I'd be like, aren't these people supposed to be the example that we're supposed to follow?
Yeah, but it's interesting to watch because
Yeah, I know.
the way how they express their opinions.
Yep.
But Africa, here's another point. I saw a clip where Maduro, before he was caught, he was dancing to this song that I want peace, not war, right? And he went to the microphone and he said he made a vow. He said, I made a vow to Chavez over his body. And the vow was that I would go to the grave, even if it goes beyond my life in this realm. I will not betray you, and I will not betray my people. So that is why they would bomb Chavez mausoleum, because of
Yes,
the
and
sacredness
Delcy
of.
Rodriguez, the acting president now, she even send out tributes to the martyrs. She used the word martyrs.
Yeah.
So you see how embedded their ideologies are
And
within.
Africa, our Caribbean leaders, our black Caribbean leaders, should take a book out of this and
A
learn
page out of
something.
their book?
A page out of this, because they have no gall, they have no spine. As I've said, the only one who I see has any spine and is really trying is Mayor Motley.
She's
You
quiet now,
understand?
though.
And speaking
No,
of
I played a
Prince,
clip yesterday with
Prince,
her, and she's not. She,
Prince
I mean,
and Contest here.
Hi.
Speaking of Mayor Motley is the voice, because at this present moment, Mayor Motley doesn't hold the chairperson of the CARICOM.
no, our leader
Our
just
Prime
took it
Minister in
over.
St. Kitts and Nevis holds the
Yeah.
chairperson of CARICOM. And I think that Mayor Motley, she holds the motherly role within
Yes.
CARICOM.
But
Yeah.
isn't
And I
she
respect that,
isn't
and I
she
can accept that. Except to say, though, that our Prime Minister should have addressed the nation, like how Mayor Motley addressed the nation.
Yes.
With Mayor Motley speaking on behalf of CARICOM, I don't mind that. It might be, it's overshadowing because there is a present sitting president and leader, which is our Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Jew.
But I saw something where they said she is is it de facto? I
Oh,
can't remember
Cotton.
the exact word, leader of CARICOM. I don't remember where I saw it, but that's what I think I saw.
Potencia, I understand that point, and I am all for it, because we need a motherly role in leadership the whole world over.
And yes,
for Delcy Rodriguez to be as a woman also, right?
Yes.
And it seems like we male will get a little softer tone because the way Mayor Motley comes across even at the UN level, it's like it's to be admired.
Yeah.
It's
Yesterday,
like she will always strike a nerve in us males.
yesterday when
Sometimes if we will want to do something, we will have a change of heart.
yesterday the clip that I played, she said, look, we are friends with Venezuela, we are friends with the United States. But that doesn't mean that you should come and disrupt what we're doing here. And she spoke about how the 4 different radar things or whatever that controls the airline and traffic in the Caribbean, that's how they were shut down, how it affected the region. And and she even spoke to the fact that, look, how do we as small states survive without law, without the world law that says the weak must be protected? So she didn't come and, this mild thing is, all our leaders, including our present leader, they tend to put emphasis on, well, we're friends of the United States, and they leave it there.
Yes, we're friends, but we're not foes. What about the other part of the world?
That's it.
Back in the ancient time, and even back in the ancient time, I have known that there were 72 nations. Today, the United Nations body has a membership of 193 nations. So nations grew out of nations.
Everybody in the world.
Back then, it was 72 nations. It is documented. It is in the record of Kemet, Egypt, and Africa, that when the dignitaries come from all these nations, they would have someone who is astute, who can interpret the language that in which they spoke.
Anyway, Africa, the United Nations is gonna fade fast into oblivion because it is of no real moment.
All right. So thanks for listening. The Avia is in town because it canceled out earlier because of Barbados being the hub, and the passengers couldn't come in because of the cancellation with the flight.
Yeah.
So it is in the town down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay.
for listening.
You
You're
take
welcome.
care.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah, and that last point is important because again, Barbados is the hub. You understand? So, and she did mention that. She did mention the impact that it would have on Barbados and the region and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
so.
you heard the story about us becoming a hub maybe in the next year or so. And then if that
would not surprise me. But
yeah, but that would impact if we continue with these things that are happening because people won't be able to come. We see what happened here Saturday when people couldn't go out.
well, and that again brings up another question. If we are to become the hub, how quick our leader will be to genuflect whenever the U.S. says jump. You understand? Because here is Barbados is the hub, and here is their leader saying, yes, we are your friends, but as friends we still have dignity and we should be treated with respect. The question is, will our leaders, as they often do, this is a fact that we know, if the U.S. says something, all our leaders are going to do is come and tell us, well, this is what is going to happen.
But Quint, before we go to a break, I just wanted to put this out there, right? Remember we just spoke about Antigua taking refugees, right?
Yes.
And as I said, and I quote Mr. Brown said, he was only going to accept 10 asylum seekers per year. He also added that talks are underway with the United States to restore normal visa issuance and renewals for his country's national, because we know as of the 6th, no visas would be issued to Antigua and Dominica. He said, despite the timing of the agreement and travel restriction, Mr. Brown said this was not a concession in terms of taking the refugees and the asylum seekers, nor an attempt to trade people or curry favor. It was a measured diplomatic gesture, end quote. In Dominica, some greeted the news of the New Deal with the U.S. with skepticism, with unemployment and underemployment already challenging many Dominican families. how will these deportees earn a livelihood? Joshua Francis, the leader of the rising opposition party in the country, said in a statement, where will these deportees be accommodated?
Well, we're not fools, Mr. Gaston Brown. We watch how things play out, and we ask ourselves this question. Isn't it rather strange that not too long ago you were placed on this list where you were exempted from citizenship? Then, quite expeditiously, we hear you're accepting whomever and whatever. So when you now come and you say, well, this isn't about this, this is about that. Remember, we have brains, mister. Remember, we are intelligent people. We are not so daft, okay? That is what I will say. And now we take a bit of a commercial break and come back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
What are you doing?
She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active living we life. So when we drink, we drinking.
Root boy.
So when we drink, we drinking.
Root boy.
Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we building up our vibes. So when we drink, we drinking.
Root boy.
So when we drink, we drinking.
Root boy.
Why?
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
And we are back on Island T. It's just about 42 minutes after the hour of 8. And as we continue along,
We have a call.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
How are you
Good
doing
day.
today?
No, Quinn.
Yeah.
Courtesy a blessed New Year.
Thank you.
No, Quinn, look like Gaston had to bend, right, and take these refugees. Now imagine, right, they're sending in refugees to their country, but in a nutshell, they're denying your people entry because the $15,000 that they put where you have to pay for a visa. Tell me how much people in the Caribbean is going to take up $15,000 to pay for a visa.
Exactly. And what if the family having 5 of us, Cleo?
But exactly, but that's the whole thing. So they're sending in people, but put up blockage to keep your people out.
Yeah. Remember, they want to make America great again. You see what that happened to that poor woman in Minnesota yesterday? You see the match that they had in, or probably still having in Minnesota?
What happened in Minnesota?
Yes.
One of the ICE agents shot, and the lady feared for her life. She drove off, and one of the ICE agents shot her plumb in her
Shot
face.
her in her head, killer.
Wow.
These are the things that are happening, and nowadays you can't even rely when they say, oh, FBI gonna investigate. You
And-
can't
and-
even rely on them anymore
Yeah.
because everybody working for the devil.
And that is a point I made recently when I was speaking to Mr. McMahon, and I said that ICE is being used in the United States to terrorize even their own people, so that it is going to be quite interesting how the next election is going to play out, because I am more and more inclined to believe that Trump is not going to want to step down at the end of his
Quentin,
term.
Quentin, I tell you that the other day.
Yeah.
Didn't I say that the other day, Quentin?
But he made an
Ain't no one
announcement,
budge.
yeah. We spoke about that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's fixing up his big house,
Yeah.
that's a key indication that he doesn't intend to leave anytime soon.
And he proposes this ship, this new warship that is, and you
Yeah,
see that, and it's-
everything
and it
he
has
wants
his
to
name.
change.
Everything is about him.
Yeah.
So
Even the
this-
Kennedy Center, people are boycotting it because of what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Or what he has done.
So does these signs show an individual who intends to step away in the next? No.
No, it
no,
do not.
No,
No,
we,
it do
now,
not. It's gonna be hell to pay.
No,
Exactly.
no, let me say this. We could be quite wrong, but we are speculating because of the signs that we are seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna continue listen because I'm getting myself ready to go in the street.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
To go in the street to protest?
She'll have to drive somewhere. and next thing, Quint, as we mentioned, the CBI program. I have a clip here before I continue with that article as well that I wanted to play for you to hear. Give me 1 second. Let me turn it up. And let me
So it's just a little story, a little anecdote. 2 years ago, I was in the queue at Heathrow, going in the foreign line, you know? And of course, everybody's something. Ahead of me is a family of Russians. Mommy, daddy, and 2 kids. All obviously well-dressed, you know, obviously they got a lot of money. It's all matching and so on and so forth. And they're chatting in Russian ahead of me. As we get to the line, and they take out their passports, and I look down at their Grenadian passports. I'm dumbfounded. Because they're obviously. So I said, let me see how this goes. So when they went to the passport agent, actually people behind me go in the queue because I'm just so macroing to find out what's going to happen. The immigration man took the passports and said, where did you get this? We are Grenadian. The passport officer called his boss. The boss came over, kept them waiting, and said, look, here it is again. More of the same. Russians coming in, posing as Grenadians.
Okay, so you're like,
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Huh?
And in the article that we are disseminating, and this article is by New York Times, it says both Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda were targeted by the U.S. State Department due to concerns over their so-called citizen by investment programs or golden passport programs. Through these programs, wealthy individuals can acquire citizenship from a cost with a minimum investment ranging from $200,000 to $250,000, according to the Immigrant Invest, a consulting company on Caribbean citizenship programs. In the Caribbean, specifically, these schemes have become a multi-billion-dollar industry that funds everything from new hospitals and schools to climate-resilient projects, but they have prompted concerns over transparency, corruption, and local inflation and housing shortages.
Well, you will realize that by the clip that you played just a while ago, it's that seemed to have been a scam.
Which one? With the
in the family with the passports.
No.
Because does Grenada have citizenship by
Yeah,
investment?
remember Grenada has one. It's not a scam. It's
Okay,
because
okay.
I have a next clip that follows up that.
What place is
The only place that didn't have it in the OECS was St. Vincent.
Okay, I'm mixing up. That's my mistake.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up
No
St.
scam.
Vincent with
Real business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play this clip, right? Because this clip speaks to how low will our Caribbean leaders go to acquiesce and agree and accommodate the U.S. so that we can survive as far as our leaders are concerned.
I see the act of CARICOM leaders distinct from what has happened in Trinidad and Tobago. That's a completely different issue, as now trying to find some form of self-defense. I'm understanding now that 2 CARICOM states and 2 states in the OECS have actually, acquiesced to Trump's demand that they take third-party deportees. In these small countries like ours, with a small tax base, we are now accepting people. We have absolutely no way of verifying who they are. And I'm certain that the United States is not going to deport a nuclear scientist. The United States will not deport someone who is on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. So we are going to end up with all kinds of people and preferably with different kinds of cultures coming into our small societies. I understand that 2 governments have signed secret arrangements with the United States on this, both Antigua,
Antigua
and I was shocked to
signed.
learn that Dominica has done so.
Dominica and Antigua. Dominica's totally, well, not so much.
But this is what I'm telling you, I'm totally shocked.
Antigua signed 3 months ago, but only announced it today, which is, announcing today that 90 days ago they signed this agreement, agreed to.
Right. In addition to which, of course, they have jettisoned the medical cooperation with Cuba and have served notice on Cuban cooperators, the doctors and so. Now, what these guys don't understand is this. When you are facing a schoolyard bully, and I've said this on your program before, you have to prepare yourself for one of 2 things. You have to prepare yourself to stand and fight, or you have to prepare yourself to be a long distance runner. Because the only thing a bully understands is resistance. Once you begin to run, you will never stop running. It started off first with expelling Cubans, then to put military assets, then the threat of blocking our fish, and now we are being forced to accept illegal migrants, of whom we know nothing about. And I mean, if we can cower to this demand, when Trump sends people, you can't say you're not accepting them. When he sends a boatload, a plane load of deportees, you dare not say. And this is the kind of world that we are living in.
If we agree to take them, then we have to take them. And as you said, we're not going to get the nuclear scientists and the AI specialists. We're going to get the criminal deportees and the people that he considers to be undesirable into our countries. Even our legal system, our judicial system cannot even deal with the issues that we have here now, and the possibility that we may take people who are sophisticated criminals into our society.
But in addition to the criminal elements, he claimed that hundreds of thousands of mentally ill people are also being rounded up and sent. So what medical facilities we have here? I mean, the paucity of our medical delivery system here is such that could we afford to take in dozens of mentally ill people, especially in the context we understand that they are bringing nurses from Ghana. Are we to hear our government announcing tomorrow that the Cuban Medical Brigade program has come to an end? Assume Ghana decides that it's going to join BRICS, and as a result, Trump does things similar to the Ghanaians as he has done in respect of the Cuban medical mission. What do we do? Where does this thing end? And that's the difficulty that we have. As I said, I'm in a state of perpetual shock.
And you see that last point about the Ghanaians, when the Antiguan leader says we're going to accept them, and he's saying that as to say, well, okay, we're going to accept them because the United States feel more comfortable with them. But you heard the point that the man made. Suppose the Ghanaian government decides to join BRICS now. You know Trump is not going to be in favor of that.
When he said he was having Ghanaians, he said it was to diversify, which we all know is to eventually send the Cubans home should Trump say they have to go.
Yes, so that is saying that he's not being honest with us, and he's not looking at the whole big picture. Because the point that the man just made is, what happens if Trump says, well, the Ghanaian government has joined BRICS and we don't like them now. So what do you do?
Send them home too.
Send them home too, and then
you're
you
in trouble again.
You understand? So that is why he says you have to be a long distance runner. You keep running and running and running, but even long distance runners have a time when their run comes to an end.
Yeah.
You understand?
But you heard too what Gaston said. He, with the nursing program at the Five Islands UE wing that they have on Antigua, that they have a nursing program now. So he's hoping, and I want to say let him hope, because I don't know how many young people are interested in nursing now.
Look, not only that, these, again, our politicians mix truth with lies. Hear this. You know how long we've been getting Cuban assistance? You know how much it is? And you know why we get that?
I have aunts and uncles that studied in Cuba from Guyana.
Because they are skilled. They are among some of the best in the world.
Yeah.
So yes, we can send people to train, but how long will it take them to get to that level? And remember, when they get to that level, the level of Cuban science and so forth keeps advancing. Even United States people are going to Cuba to get medications and assistance. These are things the Western media don't tell us, but these are facts that we know. You understand? The Cuban medical facilities and capabilities are among the best in the world. And this is a nation that you've sanctioned, you've penalized, you've ostracized, you've done everything to them. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Cartensia. Good morning, Quent.
Good morning.
Something you just read, right? Hit me on way back with Castro. Could you recall when the Americans was forcing the Cubans to create problems in Cuba? The leader of America turned to the Cubans to tell them to come to America. Could you recall the Mariel boat left?
Yeah.
When the Castro went in the prison and took out those who was guided by the American authorities, along with two persons from the asylum house, send them into Miami, what ended up happening in Miami with crime. Could you recall in England too, when persons were committing crime, they was taken from England and sent to Australia? What happened to the Aborigines?
Yeah, the Aboriginals. That's a history. That's a history. That's a history that a lot of our people need to understand.
So then what will happen to the Caribbean now when these criminals being sent to the Caribbean?
Yeah, but notice they're using a mild word. They say refugees, right? And what's the other word again?
Deportees?
Deportees. And we know deportees are usually people who did a crime, and then you...
Not all of them. Some of them overstayed.
They said some of them are individuals who do a crime, have served their time, and they don't want them in their country, so they send them back out. Yeah.
I can't understand why we, the Caribbean people, can't come together and decide who we want in our country.
That's it.
I'm saying it. I commit a crime. I go in America. I commit a crime in America. The American administrator does not want me back in St. Kitts. Why should they send me to another island? And then the island accept me.
Yeah.
So what is going on?
Good question.
But caller, they might argue that some of these refugees cannot go back to their country for fear of prosecution, so they are sending them here. But my thing is, right, caller, these people don't want to be here. These people made their trek to the United States because that's where they want to be. They never wanted to trek to Antigua. They never wanted to trek to Dominica, and I hope they don't impose on the rest of us to take people. These people don't want to be in our countries. They want to be in the land of supposed milk and honey, the USA.
And as extension to that, even if their country don't want them, also the U.S. don't want them, and the U.S. has the financial wherewithal.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to take them, package them, send them to another country, send a certain amount of money. That money will be exhausted in a given time, and then you're stuck with those people for the rest of their lives, you know.
Let me ask this question. The places in America where there are no persons living, like in the desert, why can't they make a village and put them there?
Not only in the desert. America has a lot of forests and parks. If you check their parks, vast areas. St. Kitts could drop in their parks 1,000 times over. Lush vegetation and all springs and all kind of beautiful things, but no.
They don't want them.
You see, here's the intent, caller. The intent is to make sure that these regions, these Caribbean islands, over a time, your budget, you can't deal with your budget because you can't even run your internal affairs, and then you're going to put an influx of people, you're going to put a strain on your your ability to run your fiscal, your management, and then you run into chaos, and you're easy to control.
Poverty.
Yeah, because as in Dominica, they're saying so many people are unemployed already. What you gonna do with these people?
Yeah.
What you gonna do with them?
So it then comes back to our leaders, and we making demands upon our leaders. You understand? As you heard the journalist say, Gaston signed on that
3 months ago.
But look at the SSE. How long was that in talks?
You understand?
Years ago.
Yeah.
And we only know about it now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
So all of them playing with all of them playing with us.
But they're playing with us because, as I've often said, our citizens has reached a comfort level where the ladies are more concerned with the weaves.
Oh, Lord.
The men are more concerned with the fact that they can sit on the corner and smoke the weed. So it's either the weed or the weave, you know.
Oh,
but look at it. Quent.
Yes.
Quent. Let us not run away from this. Doesn't we have freedom of movement in the OECS and CARICOM?
Well, I spoke to that yesterday, and that
because
has...
I said that to say this. These deportees being sent to Antigua and Dominica, wouldn't they be able to come to St. Kitts?
Yes.
Boy.
Yes,
But hold up. How though? Because when they go with their passport, remember they're still from where they're from.
They don't use passport when they hop from island to island. How often have you heard?
But they have to. Oh, I'm just trying to make it as hard as it because they have to get IDs.
After spending 5-10 years in Antigua or in Dominica, wouldn't they become eligible? And
they're not even going to wait until they're eligible.
Then they might try to move. These people don't want to be here. I
how,
think they're going to go right back to America.
How often have we heard little, what's that island next to us where everybody go down to shop?
St. Martin.
St. Martin. How often have we heard criminals escape from St. Martin and next thing you know, they're captured here?
Not often. Not often.
Not often.
Yeah, not often, but we've heard it.
I think it's the other way around. I think it might be the other way around.
It's the two ways.
Okay.
Because yes,
Okay.
it's the two ways. I'm saying, even though when I say how often, here's my point. My point is, criminals don't get away that often. Okay. But when they get away, you either hear they're in St. Kitts, Antigua, some other place, and did they use passport? Did they use passports to get there?
No, Quinn.
No.
I get your point, but I was just trying to make it as you know, make it look as difficult as possible, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
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 Well, I heard something this morning on the radio, you know. Donald Trump, like he want to erase Martin Luther King birthday.
Well,
I want to put his birthday Juneteenth, sometime in June, and some holiday.
Look, well,
Yeah, the 19th of June. Listen.
That is why I say you cannot try.
Crazy, you know?
Look, you cannot try. It makes no sense trying to anticipate a schizophrenic mind.
Boy.
You just cannot. Okay, caller, we have another caller. Thank you for your input. Hello,
Thank
caller.
you.
Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning to you guys. Good morning to the listeners.
Good morning.
Quinn, can we, good morning, Cardense, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Yesterday I was trying to say Happy New Year to my horn when I got cut off, but Happy New Year again to all. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn, can we affirm this morning with those clips you played, especially I think the one with that lady reporter out of Grenada, I think.
Yeah.
She's from the Windward Islands.
She's from, both of them are from Grenada.
Yeah. Can we now affirm that Gaston Brown, because one part of the clip says,
Yes, I
3
did
months
say
ago,
that. I did say that yesterday. I wasn't sure, but Cortensia
Yeah, I
came
read an article
and
from the New York Times that
and she actually
confirmed.
played his voice, Gaston Brown's voice, saying that yes.
yeah. So yesterday when I made that statement, I wanted to be a little bit cautious because
Yeah. Well, you
I know I
understand.
had started.
But you understand why we have to be cautious, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. We
Okay.
gotta make sure these are facts and
Yes.
truths.
Yes. Go
So,
ahead.
let me switch this conversation around a little bit, man. Once upon a time, I wasn't really fully in touch with this political stuff in St. Nevis. Even though it was an interest of mine from a little boy, I got disconnected for some years. I got reconnected around 2013. When the CBI program started, and some many years that I wasn't paying attention, I've now come to understand that persons, even in the Caribbean, in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, were not too pleased about going in that direction. They didn't want that CBI program. It's a risky business. You know what I'm saying? And now we are seeing where it has led us. A lot of people was against it, and now we see where it has led us. And not for 1 minute, we don't really, and the thing about the CBI is the veteran and all of those type of stuff. And it is not the true real diversification that we need. We need to be, exploring other industries as well. So now we have a president in the United States, Donald Trump, came along. And this is what I'm going to go with this. We don't really like Trump. We don't like his policies. But the man is moving in a direction to try to protect his own country, the sovereignty of America.
You think he's concerned about that? Even the American people are waking up to the fact that he's only using that as a talking point. He's concerned about himself.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna put all this discussion. We're gonna have this discussion. We're gonna widen the base of this discussion. Now, right now, no matter what nobody says, they are targeting the islands in the Caribbean who has that CBI program. That's what they're doing, plain and simple.
But caller, I agree with you. But hear this. Back when the Caribbean was a big exporter of bananas, right, to Europe, do you realize they targeted banana? Back when the Caribbean was a big exporter of sugar to Europe and the Americas, do you realize they targeted sugar? Do you understand what I'm saying, Carla?
Yeah, money. Once you start getting that money, they want to knock that away from you. They don't want you to make that money.
Not just making money. You're not supposed to survive. Yeah. Anything that you find. Imagine we were legally producing sugar. They controlled it for years and years and years, and but soon as we got control of it and we were able to survive on it, bam. Then bananas. You're able to survive on it. Mr. Clinton decide, he goes and he complains like a baby to Europe, and he says, this colonialist thing you had with your farmer slave where you give them favoritism, that isn't right. Finish with that. And they finish with it. So even though a lot of us didn't agree with the citizenship by investment, here's the point. No matter what we do to survive, they target it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Quinn, I'm believing when I made my statement when I first come on, you understand the direction I'm going to go with it. So now I'm going to come back around to you now, and I'm going to say this in agreement with what you just said. Even though we were I'm not going to say me per se, because I wasn't around when that CBI started. Even though some persons were against it, we started making money from it anyway.
Yes.
And it became our bread and butter.
Yes.
And then so now Uncle Sam is now trying to take that away from us. So our leaders, they got to pay attention. They got to evolve.
But
as
caller,
rapidly.
let's extend that point that you just made. This thing was not supposed to be our sole bread and butter. It was
Yes,
supposed
so
it,
now
was,
we
it,
have-
it was supposed to be a supplement. Our leaders were supposed to continue making sure that we got investment, development of our infrastructure, and certain other things that allowed us to survive. But no, because this was just about sitting down behind a desk and signing and signing and signing and signing and signing, as still as one person says, one farmer leader says, until your wrists almost drop off, you understand? It became the easy thing to do. And now we find ourselves in a quandary. So to your point that you were just going to make, where you were saying they should have broadened their horizons, that is what they should have been doing all along. But they put all their eggs in one basket. You don't put all your eggs in one basket.
They didn't have the vision. And then so now our program, which was a platinum program, is down in the gutters.
Yeah, drying up.
So if now when I was asking for the Haitians to come in, they rejected that. Now as Kalanji, I'm gonna recognize Kalanji this morning. As he said a lot of times, we are going to be forced to do some things we don't want to do.
Yeah.
And then now Big Uncle Sam Bully is trying to force us to accept these refugees and these third-party deportees. America, when Trump was on the campaign trail, he says these same group of people has come across the southern border and is reaping havoc on American cities. So if he's now going to dump those same group of people off on us, what do you think going to happen in our country?
Yeah, that's what we've been seeing all morning.
Man, those people that's going to be coming in, they are not going to be skilled people. They're going to be, man, these group of people, Trump calls them criminals.
But I'm not gonna caller. Remember what Trump says. Remember what Trump says. We need to take with a grain of salt, because not all of the people who he maligned and said they're criminals were criminals and are criminals. Some of them were and are skilled people, but because of their color, their race, their bloodline, that is why he hates them. So be clear on that.
Okay, let me. When I talk to you, right, when you check me intervally, like intervals, I'm gonna rewind myself. If I feel to myself that I make a bad statement, and I'm gonna retract that again. I'm gonna retract that because we hear the utterances from him, but we don't have to always align with him because, like he likes to stigmatize and he likes to talk down on us. Like when he says Haitians were eating animals.
Yes.
You know, that was not a good look. So let me just take back the word criminals. Well, what I want to say is align myself back with you as you check me there, right? But what I'm saying going forward now is that we're not going to have the choices of who we want to come in. You know what I mean? The groups of people that's going to be coming in, we're not going to have choices. We're not going to be able to pick who we want to come in. As you said,
that is true.
We want the skilled persons to come in. We're not going to have that choice at all. And then when you look internally in some of these communities in the islands, we're already experiencing like mental health challenges.
Yeah.
Some challenges internally that we may not want to face at times. So when these persons come in, they're going to pose a real big, America has the resources. They are the ones that can more deal with these groups of people, but they want to dump those persons off on us. And we already have our internal challenges. Like in St. Kitts and Nevis, CBI is going down. We have mental health challenges. The crime was down. Certain type of crimes were down. And now, these are the type of things we got to look in the future, in the near future, if this thing is to happen, if we really are to take these group of people's hand, it's definitely going to affect us. And, we have to just be ready. And, we don't know where it's going to go yet.
Look, we don't have to be ready. Our leaders need to understand, wake up, smell the coffee, realize they're living in a real world, and find ways to unite. That is the key.
Yeah.
Unless they do that, we will be fleeced. We will be picked off one by one. Let me tell you something, right? And I think I have it on one of the clips here. You see those two Grenadians that you just heard, the journalist and the one who deals with union. The man, he's a unionist. Okay, those two, they made a point, and here's what they said. Let me see if I can find the clip, right? But anyway, I'm going to tell you first. He said that, you remember when we were hearing that America was putting pressure on the young Grenadian leader to put something in Grenada, you remember?
Yeah, the radar system.
Okay. And remember, they kept pushing him and he wasn't saying anything. And at one point I even said, look, give the man a break. There's pressure on the man. We don't know what they're whispering and threatening to him. Okay? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what happened. And this is what our leaders got to learn. Learn diplomacy. You know what that young man did? Remember we heard on America had given them a deadline, and next thing we heard the deadline had passed?
Yeah.
Okay. What he did, he never said yay nor nay. The deadline passed, and guess where that ended up? That ended up in Tobago. What does that tell you? You know, it's Trinidad and Tobago, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you, here's a young man who is a leader of a country who has a history of an invasion in the past by the United States. Mm-hmm. And the United States has the unmitigated gall to come to that young man and try to put pressure on him to try to help them to invade another country. Yep. And he doesn't want to do it. So he plays the diplomacy, he uses tact, he ignores it, and you end up putting it in Tobago. Because we all know that Mrs. Lady will jump whenever they say jump, and she will stoop whenever they say stoop. What I'm saying in a nutshell is this. If he could do that, other leaders could do that too. Like I said when I was speaking to that young lady in Nevis who was hedging and hedging, I was saying the same thing. Stop hedging and hedging. Find ways of surviving. And you survive by being diplomatic or saying what needs to be said in a diplomatic way.
Yeah, definitely, because in these times, we really and we had discussions on here before all of this stuff started unraveling about, how America is going to pick us off one by one.
Yeah.
And we are falling for that trap. Like you just mentioned, Deacon Mitchell in Grenada, he was diplomatic.
Yeah.
And he didn't do something that he didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Whether he was quiet or what, I don't know how he handled it.
But remember his people came out and were on the street.
And they said no. They said no.
They said
didn't
no.
want it.
And he listened to his people. But even apart from that, he would have remembered the history. He's a Grenadian.
Yeah, he didn't want history to repeat itself.
Yeah.
Not even for just his own country alone, but for the region.
That's it.
So he went down the path of not supporting that.
Yeah, because Grenada doesn't have a military to defend themselves even, so why would he mix up in that?
Which I'm going to commend him. I'm going to commend him on that.
Yeah, hold a second. Hold a second. We have another call. I don't know if you're going to hang up or you're going to stay on. Hello, caller.
I'll stay on.
Yes, Quint.
Yes.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Cartencia.
Good morning.
And greetings once more in Jesus' name. Yes. Now, as usual, I'm going to go contrary to all that has been said up to now. And I'm doing that based on the Bible as usual. Now, like I said yesterday, and I still reiterate, we are, first, Trump is wrong in deporting people. Any country that deports anybody is wrong. Even when we deport people, we are wrong. It goes against the Bible. Two, when we refuse to allow anybody to come into our country, or any other country doing that, refusing people from coming into their country, that is wrong as well. And two wrongs does not make a right, biblically speaking. The way to go, contrary to all that has been saying, on our side, we are not in control of America's side. We are only in control of our side. Well, so to speak. On our side, we are to have open immigration, biblically speaking, so that whoever choose to come here are sent here. Biblically, we are not to prevent them from coming here. Now, what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to be enforcing biblical laws that deal with crimes. Like I said yesterday, the way to deal with that matter, if people who like murder, who rape, kidnap, bring false gods, and that sort of stuff, the biblical way is to publicly execute them. Stealing, you make the person recompense so the victim too, and even more times of what they stole. You know, and the Bible shows you peace will reign. You obey God, you apply His laws, His word, peace would reign. It does not matter.
But all of those things that you said, all
reign.
of those things that you stipulate is the Bible way. We don't see them in the Bible. Somehow you have read the Bible and come to your own conclusion and decided this is the way the Bible interprets things, because nowhere I see in the Bible, you have to find ways in the Bible where you're going to use scripture to show me where the Bible says that if another country wants to send criminals into my country, I have to accept them. It's nowhere in the Bible, but somehow you've come up with your own interpretation, and you feel that just to say it is the Bible way, we must all accept it.
Well, the Bible says concerning governments, where their jurisdiction are concerned, they are to punish evildoers. And the Bible tells you how to punish them, and the Bible tells you what evils you are to punish. And they are to approve of those who do good. And not only that, the Bible also tells you.
I spoke to you just now.
I
spoke to you just now about immigration. Tell me the passages or passage in the Bible that tells us that when one country decides to deport criminals into your country, you should accept them.
The passages that I just mentioned indirectly address that issue.
You hear that? You hear the nonsense he speaks indirectly.
Greg, you need to tell him where you got those passages from so that he can look at
the passage that I just mentioned indirectly speak to those issues.
So you see,
you don't.
You see,
he's not going to buy what you're selling.
This is what I keep saying, and this is why people need to listen, because Greg comes and he speaks certain things that are far-fetched, right? Far-fetched from reality, and then he uses things like indirectly. This is what it is saying. But then hear this. He says, he just says indirectly, but he's going to quote down the line. He's going to say, God said that, or Jesus said, as he was just saying. So it shows I don't understand how these people say they love God and they love Jesus, because I don't conform to their religion. But even though I don't conform to their religion, I respect their views. right? But they say they love God, and yet still you're going to lie blatantly on God and Jesus Christ? Blatantly lie and then use words
No,
like
this is what the Bible
indirectly
says,
saying?
indirectly. No, no. If the Bible says something indirectly, you're not lying when you say it says this indirectly or implicitly.
What is
But
indirectly?
Greg, you had to come with the facts so that you can get him to believe. You
But
can't just come and
I
say.
just quote the scriptures.
But what
this
scriptures
is
are?
what I did.
But he cannot quote any scripture that says it. That is why he keeps infusing
No,
the
you
word.
want a scripture
This
that
is why
directly says it.
this is why he keeps using the word indirectly. And
Yes, because what the Bible says indirectly is as much scripture as what it says directly.
anyway, that is why for this new year, if you can, when I'm going to allow you to express yourself, but after you reach a certain point where I find you're not saying anything or you're using words like indirectly as opposed to giving us fact, I'm going to cut you off.
So when Jesus Christ gave us indirectly scriptural teaching, indirectly, when he used scripture indirectly to the Jews, some teaching from scripture, you're saying Jesus lying too?
There's
I'm
a
just doing
difference.
what Jesus did.
There's a difference between a parable and facts.
No, I'm not talking about parable. I'm talking about deducing. Jesus deduced some teaching from scriptures.
Remember, Greg, that I grew up in this church just like you. I went to Sunday school just
we grew
like
up in
you.
different churches.
So when
churches around here, I won't speak about them.
So when we speak to indirectly, here's and by your latter statement, you're implying that certain phrases and examples are used to suggest something else, and that is why I said there's a difference between parables and reality. In the Bible, parables are used to, they are fictional things, made up things that are used to express a specific point, which people will understand. But you cannot use those and say, the Bible says.
But the Bible used deduction too.
Anyway,
the Bible, Jesus used deduction.
Anyway, caller, you would realize that we're just going round and round in circles with Greg. Greg, is there another point you want to make?
Yeah, and so also as well, okay? Also as well, concerning, like I said, the Venezuelan issues, you know, we could argue, we could cuss and so as we want to, but the Bible tells you everything is by God, from God, and of God. And Venezuela only hope, like all of us, is simply in biblical repentance, turn to Jesus Christ, and that's the only true protection you can get from
But why is it we always look for the victim and say the victim needs to change, and why
because
is it
that's the victim's only hope. Once you got the Bible read, that's the victim's only hope.
But why is it you don't do that with the culprit, the individual who puts the pressure on the victim? Why is it we
Because
always pick the victim?
The victim needs help from the culprit.
The victim gets grieved, and here's what you say: oh well, she shouldn't have dressed that way. You know, she should have known she would have tempted him. You instead of saying no, she has her own body, she has her right, she has the ability to say no or yes. You do not invade a person's person without their consent. No. Oh well, you know, look at the length of her dress. You're crazy. No, the poor fellow couldn't help himself. This is what we do, and this is what you're doing. And we do not comply to that kind of way of thinking. Okay?
But I'm advising the victim how to get true help. And you are a victim because God made you a victim.
Okay, so I've discontinued that call with that caller because, and whoever wants to say whatever, that you can say whatever. At least I give him a chance to express himself. But when I find we're becoming redundant, it doesn't make any sense. Burl, any final statements? I'm going to take a commercial break.
Yeah, Quint, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. Any CARICOM leader, right, when it's time for them to take the chair, can they decline? Can CARICOM have co-chairs at the same time?
I think in a democracy you can, but I don't see why you should.
And concerning the Prime Minister, I think he's going to have a round table today, all right? I'm going to pay close attention to that.
Yes.
And I believe that he should not be on that round table by himself. He should bring on some of his cabinet members, because this Venezuela thing is going to consume us for like 6 months or more. The
Yeah.
6 months that the Prime Minister is going to take up this chair role is going to put him at a disadvantage in terms of him focusing on the affairs of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
6 months is going to take 6 months is going to take a chunk out of the next 2 years that's leading up to the local election.
Yeah.
When I talk like this, some persons don't like to hear it, but I'm just putting the questions out there.
Yeah.
If he could have declined taking up that chair at this time, should he have done that? And if he needs help in terms of this collective voice in CARICOM, you know,
But why
collaboration.
again? I ask the question: why should he decline? Why?
I'm just trying questions out there.
Okay.
You on the other side, yes. I'm trying these questions out so we can bring that narrative up, that debate.
Because
and I'm gonna when I ask that you rebut me.
That question.
And then you're rebutting me because leadership role requires that leadership at this point.
Yeah, takes
right?
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, got
so,
you.
Yeah, so that is why I ask why, because that that question seems to imply to me that because it is heated now, the heated debate, he should step away from it. But I'm saying no, don't step away from it.
No,
but still
yeah,
don't.
I would agree. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Even though I threw that question out, I definitely will agree with you.
Yeah, but
leadership.
But let me extend
requires
that.
Strength.
But let me extend that. Having accepted the leadership, accept it with responsibility. Don't accept it and going and say the same old, and we're going to hear, when we ask you questions about what is happening, all we're going to hear you going back to is, remember we're friends with the United States, and, you know, we got to be careful because, you know, we're a weak country, and that isn't what we want to hear. You understand?
And also not to be quiet as well.
We want you to do like Mayor Motley do. You say, yes, well, we're friends with the U.S. and we do not want to, you know, go contrary to what they would desire. But having said that, we do not want the U.S. to keep infringing on our democracy. What is wrong with saying that?
Yeah, okay, Quint, I'm going to just leave it there, man. Great discussions, and, you know, thanks for the alternate opinions.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay,
yeah,
you
bye,
take
thanks.
care. So we're going to take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're back on Island T, just about 33 minutes after the hour of 9 in the AM. And as we were speaking about what Greg was talking about earlier, I had something up here. Hold on one second. But I have since seem to have lost it, but I'll find it again. So, Quint, if you want to continue while I try to
well,
get
let me play a clip here.
Okay, no problem.
And
on this whole situation that's unfolding in Venezuela, I said to you, that the United States is not preparing an Afghanistan or an Iraq type of activity in Venezuela. They're going to stay away from that. What the Americans are doing is upgrading the playbook of Noriega in 1989 or whatever that year it was that they invaded Panama, captured Noriega, and went out with him. And I pointed out to you that very quietly, the Americans have concocted a fictitious lie, brought an indictment against Maduro, and this is what the Americans are going to do. And this is precisely what has happened. Because at the moment, the Party Socialista, Maduro's party, is still in office. All the generals, all the senior people are still in place. Dulce Rodriguez was the deputy. She is now the president. Hearing from Trump, Trump said that whatever America says to be done. And I can guarantee you, at the first order of business, because I lived through this in Grenada, is the expulsion of all Cubans. So you can expect that all the Cuban contingent that have been bringing medicine to the barrios in Venezuela, and let me make it clear to you, until Chavez, there were places in Caracas up in those hills where people never saw a doctor in all of their lives. It is the coming of the Cuban comrades that brought medicine and supplies, right? It is the Bolivarian Revolution that created, because there were no buses, people live in the hills and had to walk.
One of the things I find interesting when I listened to President Trump's news conference on Saturday, and he talked about the oil. He talked a lot about the oil, very little about democracy, if at all. He talked about, so, you know, the jig is up, what we all thought, what we all knew, what we all suspected.
Only the sycophants and the self-proclaimed mouthpieces for U.S. policy spreading this thing about drugs and look. I mean, Trump has made it clear, even during the Iraqi war and so on. Trump in an interview said, "I would not have occupied Iraq. I'd just go in there and take the oil." End the story.
Given the position that he is taking, that, you know, we're going in there, we're going for the oil, he talked about compensation, that the companies who were nationalized, that they need to be compensated, that the U.S. will get back its money that it's spending on Venezuela and the operation and whatever from the oil and so on. Do you get the sense from all of this that despite all of the criticism of the economic issues in Cuba and the situation of the regular people in Cuba, that will still continue because the United States will simply be sucking billions of dollars out of Venezuela, and there won't be anything much left to put in for the people, that the people may likely end up suffering more in Venezuela?
Well, look, let's not forget that before Chavez, for years, large sections of the Venezuelan population, millions of people, lived in the most grinding state of poverty with all of Venezuela's oil. With all of Venezuela's oil going to U.S. companies, extracting it by the billions. And of course, if you know the structures that they built, there is always a small group within the country that the U.S. charge with local administration. And that group lives with wealth. And a lot of it is in the United States. Many of them have two homes. They live in Miami in sprawling opulence and so on. And the top brass in the military, especially the Air Force, belong to the ruling class families. And their role is to keep order. So I'm saying, what people are not understanding, that the difficulties that Maduro has faced with the economy is not brought on. We are being sold by the American narrative that it's corruption and drugs that have destroyed the Venezuelan economy. That is absolutely false. The Venezuelan economy has been destroyed by the sanctions imposed upon it, the seizure of its financial resources, because it's locked into the American international financial system. The British, as part of that, froze all of the sovereign gold that Venezuela kept in the Bank of England. The Venezuelan state went to the courts in the UK to argue the case that this seizure was unlawful. The courts ruled in favor of the Venezuelan government. And up to now, Maduro's last day in office, the country had no access to its resources. You remember when they made Guaido the president? They passed over hundreds of millions of dollars to Guaido as a government in exile. All of that money disappeared. And when it became clear that Guaido could not deliver to them Venezuela, they got rid of him. And now we see what is unfolding here. So let us be clear. This is all about oil. The main objective here, because all the attacks on Venezuela, it did not fall.
Imagine a big superpower in the world wants your wealth, but to keep you impoverished. You understand that? Huh?
Yeah. Because I was looking at something else where I was trying to inquire why he wants to get Greenland. Now I see there's a headline that says he's inquiring about buying Greenland. And when I check what Greenland has...
Were you just knowing what Greenland has?
I am just knowing. I'm not going to pretend like I knew before. I said, oh, and I looked at many movies that I see come out, and I said, that's why I always look at these movies deep, you know. When you see this, I can't even remember his name, this guy, they were fighting for the uranium, and although they say uranium mining is illegal in those parts, I'm like, but look, uranium is here. So look, these movies show us everything that will happen eventually. So he's making attempts now to buy it. Denmark is not going to sell you Greenland.
Look,
like,
I've
relax.
said it and I will reiterate. The United States is in a panic. It sees what is happening around the world. People have been seeing how the West have duped them, have exploited them. People are setting up different monetary systems. Recently, when Trump started all of this embargo, it has backfired against him. Even his allies he imposed embargoes on. He put pressure on everybody. And those people were forced to the realization, how are we going to survive? If we were dependent, even Europe realized, how are we going to survive if we don't have the US? We're going to have to do it on our own. You see what the man just spoke about, where they seize Venezuela's money? The same thing they're doing with Lewinsky up there. They seize Russia's money. They keep giving Lewinsky Russia's money. What they're doing is the money... Zelensky. I don't care to pronounce his name properly.
Well, we have to...
Anyway.
They need to understand who you're talking about. Lewinsky was Monica Lewinsky for Clinton.
Well, maybe he has compromised himself to the extent just
oh
the very
my gosh! Oh my gosh!
What you say his name is again?
Zelensky.
Z is the first.
Z, yeah.
Okay. Zelensky. Yeah, this is what they're doing. They seize Russia's money, billions of dollars. And you know, when you put money in a place, it gathers interest.
Yeah.
So they're skimming off the interest, which runs into millions and millions of dollars, and they're giving it to Lewinsky, just like how he says.
Zelensky, like Lewinsky.
Look, I'm gonna.
Okay, so they're giving it to the Ukrainian leader, so persons can.
Yeah, well, sometimes I even forget it's Ukraine. You understand?
Yeah.
But anyway, you get the gist of what I'm saying. Just the same as if when Juan Guaido, they wanted to put him in, they took Venezuela's money and prop him up. So it shows you the legal system is being used illegally. That is why I say we can't even depend on the law. And so the world has seen where you're picking and choosing and you're compromising, you're putting everyone in compromising position, and they're moving away. They're putting up different banking systems, and the United States realized it will be isolated, and it wants to survive. And to survive, it wants to hold the oil and the mineral and the things that will keep it running. That is what they're doing.
Yeah. I saw something that says, see, the U.S. government doesn't care about you until they notice you have oil. Iraq, Libya, Venezuela, and a funny thing they have in here is Didi, which is the baby oil situation. But yeah.
Well, you see how they put in Didi?
Yeah, just to trade
That's why I put in Lewinsky.
No, but Didi is with the baby oil funny thing.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
No, but the Didi part is what is this thing that they say they want the information on?
What thing? I'm lost.
So Trump is saying that this guy who exploited so much people.
You mean then that guy would be Diddy?
No.
Which guy? Which guy?
This hearing that they want to bring out to and Trump is a part of it.
Epstein.
Epstein. Well,
Okay.
that is why they put in the Diddy thing. You didn't get it?
No.
Okay, well you got it now though.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Nefarious things are happening. Look, a lot of people feel that the people who are running the United States today are, and it is alleged, a lot of pedophiles.
Yeah.
Okay?
But then look at this too. He kidnaps Maduro and says Maduro is in charge of trafficking, but then on another breath he lets go of a president that was also indicted and transported to the US, but the legal way for drug trafficking too. So what is the difference with this
Well,
one?
that is a question that so many journalists have been asking. How it is, and these are the things that show up that you're hypocritical. You know, you're saying one thing and then
I guess that country doesn't have minerals. Well, I don't know. I'll
whether
have to
or
look
not
up.
they have mineral. the point is that you're saying that you want to curtail this
One.
drug thing and you want to imprison someone for
But
that.
you're going to release one
But you're
that
going to
was-
release
yeah.
one who has been sentenced to over 40 years in prison.
Yeah.
You just because you know once you give a presidential pardon, that's it.
Yeah.
So you just pardon him.
Yeah.
Why you couldn't just leave it alone?
Yeah.
But you pardon him. There are those who feel that maybe he was one on the island too. You
Oh,
know what I'm
jeez.
saying? So
Okay. All right. So he gets help.
yeah. So yeah. Let me play another clip here, right? Let me see.
Venezuela struck a deal with China. China has invested a significant amount of money in infrastructure and other things. And the way the Chinese did it is simple. You don't have to pay me now. All right? I will provide you with all of this infrastructure. I will help you build it, and I will pay you future payments. I will invest in your oil industry. We work out a price that we will be paid now, and I will give you the cash so you can survive and get going. And if the price of the oil increase in the future, then there is a mechanism for adjusting what we agreed. And that is what triggered, because Trump was in talks, Maduro was in talks with Trump, saying, look, man, if it is oil you want, there's no need to come and kill a lot of my people here. We can make an arrangement. There's enough oil that the Americans can get some. The people of China can get some. And and Venezuela could trade with other countries.
But we're out of time on this segment, but I just wanted to ask you this one final question. What does this whole situation demand of Caribbean civil society? You know, like you're a trade unionist yourself, trade unions and regional institutions, beyond official government statements, because the governments, as you've said in great detail, are apparently running scared and about to fall in line with the Trump world. Is it now left up to Caribbean civil society and
Well, it is. And let me commend you for the role that you are playing, because in this period, we need to combat the propaganda that is coming from the North. And that propaganda comes every second, every day, every week, every month, every year. If you notice, none of the cable producers that we have here in Grenada, do you know they don't allow you to look at RT? They don't allow you to look at Al Jazeera. They cut all those stations. So that the vast majority of people, the only thing they have is the one-sided, concocted, lying information that the United States is spreading. And so people are confused about that. The good thing is that people like yourself, and to some degree myself and others, are able to speak and to explain to our people how the world is unfolding and why, and what we can expect to happen, etc., etc. And we were very successful with that in blocking that military dung station satellite tree from being placed here. Had it not been for the voices of people like you and I and others, I have no doubt in my mind, the Grenadian people signaled to the government that they will be unhappy with any decision that gets us involved in any military activity in Venezuela. the government found itself that yes, they're under pressure from the United States, tremendous pressure, which can have political consequences for them, right? But yet the government, and I must compliment the government on this, it neither said yes or it neither said no. At the end of that situation of neither saying yes nor no, we didn't get the down satellites. It went to Tobago. Because remember, long predating even the Grenada Revolution, Grenada and Venezuela have had long historic ties. For many, many a year, Venezuela hosts one of the largest populations of Grenadians outside of Grenada. So we have a better appreciation and understanding.
Yeah. So when I make statements, I make my statements from derived from facts, from hearing, from underground. So you heard it for yourself where he reiterated what I said about, the leader not acquiescing, not saying yeah or nay, and then it going to Tobago. So for those of you who were wondering if I was saying the truth or not, I always bring the truth.
But we were following that. We did say that. We played clips where he didn't have any definitive explanation as to whether he would say yes or no. We saw the Grenadian people protesting. We played that as well. So we, as you said, he was diplomatic. And take it somewhere else. And one thing else that I don't know if you had mentioned, but there were 32 Cubans that were killed in the attack on Venezuela. That you mentioned that already, right?
Well, I spoke to that in a fleeting way, but I think if I'm not mistaken, the next clip might say it, the final clip. I'm going to play this because what he was implying there is that Caribbean leaders need to learn to be diplomatic, which I've said before. Don't just bow, Find ways of hedging when it serves your interest, right? So I'm going to play this final one because I asked Mr. McMahon, how are we going to survive as a Caribbean, unit, as a Caribbean archipelago of islands? And he did say we need to work with our mouth shut, right? Which means whatever we're going to do, our leaders get together, discuss it, and keep it among themselves and within our own, Caribbean unit, right? So I'm going to play this final clip between them.
We are in the early chapters of a new book. We don't know how this will play out, right? We don't know. For the moment, Caracas is calm. For the moment, things seem to, we're not sure. There are a lot of questions that have come to mind. How was this kidnap possible? We are learning that Cuba, again, to the rescue, have lost 25 of its citizens. My question that befumbles my mind is how do these aircrafts, with the information that Trump gave, he said the helicopters came in 100 feet off the sea line. That's the height of a high-tension electricity pole. And none of them were engaged in fire. What happened? I mean, Jukutu Grenada, in its battle with the United States, we shoot down five helicopters.
We fought back.
But so the question is, it's an open question, and I'm planting that question there because hundreds of people have called me, and people have already worked out, and they're coming to their own conclusions. And I must say, I don't have an answer, and it is something that has befuddled my mind. But there are greater issues which I think another program needs to speak about because there are some side issues. In other words, why did the United States move in this direction? What it is the United States is hoping to achieve? What is happening with the other forces at work? What is happening to the US as a universal world currency? The development of the BRICS, how these things present opportunities for us. Is the world becoming our multipolar world anymore? Is this current incident changing the direction in which the world is developing and which things is happening? And how do we understand that? Because unless we understand these things, then we will tend to act in the way the two other Caribbean states, OECS states so far, has acted by agreeing to accept unknown deportees.
Agreeing to accept most unfavorable arrangements and imposing them on their people without any discussion ahead of time with their people. But on that note, I have to thank you so much for joining me on The Narrative. We look forward to having you back. This is a developing story, a moving story. It's going to go on for quite some time, even as President Nicolas Maduro faces a trial in the United States. We will continue to talk about this and to shed light on it, and we will have you back. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Calista.
This is The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Calista Fari. That was Chester Humphrey. He's a former president of the Senate in Grenada, former trade union leader, and continuing to be a trade union activist. He is also part of the Grenada-Venezuela Solidarity Organization here in Grenada. And speaking there about CARICOM's action, his own reaction to the kidnapping of President Maduro and his wife by U.S. forces, and the U.S. position on the oil that Venezuela, tremendous oil resources that Venezuela has, and you know, the story behind the U.S. actions finally becoming undeniable with that news conference that President Trump had, that Donald Trump had on Saturday as well.
Okay.
That's he said 25, but most of the news article says 32.
Well,
Cuban. So
whatever the numbers, we know.
Yeah.
And here's something too. Marco Rubio says Cuba is next, but Cuba.
But his lineage is from Cuba. What's wrong with him?
But apart from that, Cuba is not like Cuba is not like these other islands.
And we don't know what Cuba have to do with that.
Cuba is not like these other islands. They have been trying to control and take over Cuba from since way back after Castro decided he was going to segregate himself from the United States of America. The Cuban people, they are fighters. Anywhere when apartheid was going on, anywhere around the world where you're struggling for freedom, bet your life Cubans are there.
But you know, most recently, before all these other things came up where it pertains to us acquiring a U.S. visa, you know, if you've been to Cuba, you know they investigate you more. If you've been to Cuba, you have to.
I expect that.
But if you're just going for leisure, why are you investigating me? I'm free to go wherever I want, just like how you're free to go wherever you want. So why are you telling me that by me going to Cuba, I'm enriching Cuba somehow with my little bit of dollars that I have?
I use an example, and I'm going to use it in relation to Cuba now. I use an example with the Latin American countries and Haiti, and I said the Latin American countries would not be where they are today, have their freedom, if it was not for the fight from Haiti. Haiti then was like Cuba is doing now. Just like how Cuba sends people to help people all over, that is what Haiti did, right? And those Latin American countries got their freedoms and independence because of fighting for it. Having gotten it, all of them segregated themselves from Haiti. To the point where they're trying for years to segregate themselves from the dark or black color. I reiterate again, better the race. How do you better the race? Make sure you get closer to white. You infuse more white. You see what has happened to you now? Now I use this in terms of Cuba. The entire Caribbean should have learned a lesson from Cuba, because now America is going to try to do to all the rest of the Caribbean what it did to Cuba. Isolate you, make sure that your people stay there, make sure if you're abroad, you can't send back money to help your family and every kind of, in a sense, try to stifle you. If you go to Cuba and you look and you see how they survive, the cars they have and the this and the machinery, you are amazed that they can survive on those old-time things. And that is why they are so great, because they make sure that this will survive. And we as a Caribbean, we took it casually. Well, you know, Cuba, and we sympathize with them, and we're going to take your nurses and help you, and then they try to cut off even that. The nurses and the doctors can't come here so they can make money to help Cuba. You understand? No, cut that off. And we, like Gaston is saying now, well, you know, we're gonna acquiesce to that. Well, look, it's going to happen to us now too if we're not careful. So we don't learn from the obvious. We don't learn from what is right in front of our faces. As how people say, who can't hear?
Go feel.
Okay.
And with that too, Quint, I see there is a advisory out as it pertains to some kind of a incident that happened in Frigate Bay. I'm going to wait for further details, but they're asking you to be careful as you walk around, especially in the golf course. Don't be on it too late. Don't walk by yourself. Make sure you have company, and other places that may be desolate. Some people are out there with, I don't want to say sick minds, but
and that brings to bear again wanting to bring in these people, because this could be our own people, mind you, but we can't even manage our own people.
So
be
how
careful.
can we manage
mind
the
you, I'm not
rest?
saying it is our own people, but it could be our own people.
Yeah.
But if we can't manage our own internal affairs, why do we want to encourage and entice any external burdens?
Just exactly.
Because these people have a plan. Their plan is to put a strain on your economy.
Exactly.
And our leaders are supposed to be wise enough to know that.
But my thing is, I'm saying you should be happy that somebody's not dependent on you. Like a parent, your child grows up, they're going to work now. Okay, you don't have that burden no more. Why would a parent want to stop their child from working and say, "Come back and live with me"? What is that?
Well, a parent is not so much. I hear what you're saying, but it's not so much a good example. Let's say a slave master. This is the mentality of the U.S. and Europe. They are slave masters. And a slave master doesn't want the slave to go free. They always want the slave to come back. You understand? Yeah, that's the reality. It has been, we have been having and going through a subtle form of slavery. This final caller. Hello, caller. You're the final. Hello?
Yes, Queen and Cartencia. Cartencia, they do that. They want you to rely on them because that's how they retain power and control. Once they have that power and control, they could twist you, turn you as they like.
But then they're going to still be in charge of me, and they're going to have to pay for me, and they're going to have to pay for this, and they're going to have to pay for that.
They don't care.
So
They're
what's
exploiting you.
But they don't mind.
They
don't mind.
You,
The fact is you're suffering. As long as you're suffering and you got to keep begging, they don't mind.
Yeah.
And so you see, keep you poor, keep you begging, and then they make you tell you, oh, look at what we do for you. And this thing with Venezuela, right? All the Caribbean leaders should be ashamed of themselves because all of them should be standing up for Venezuela, for Chavez, regardless.
That's it.
Because when I look at all the money that Chavez and the one before take out of their country, out of their citizens' mouth and give to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
All throughout the Caribbean, they give away their money, and everybody gladly take it.
Yeah. And now they're ready to kick them under the bus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wickedness.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, have a good day.
You too.
No shame whatsoever. Take your money, take your assistance, go on the platform and boast about it, and then kick you under the bus.
Guys, human beings, we are a special set. That's all I'm gonna say about us.
And especially us black people. Maybe people
boy.
won't want to hear it, but that is it. Because if one thing you can say, you notice how the Latin American countries are now joining up together, but we as a Caribbean people still want to be fragmented, still want to be Antigua over there. And no. We don't feel we're superior. We suffer, we as a black people suffer from an inferiority complex. We feel that we are inferior to everybody else.
Okay.
Maybe not you and me, but this is what, look.
No.
If we did not feel we were inferior to everybody else, let me say this. Vibes Cartel, I remember I saw him here when he came here, a young black man. But we so hate ourselves and we so feel inferior that he whitened his skin.
But he used to abuse whitening of the skin, so I don't understand how he ended up along that vein.
Because he was a hypocrite. He was saying
Big
something, but he hated his own color. So now when you see Vibe Cartel, I'm amazed because I know when I saw Vibes Cartel was a black, undisputed black person. Now you see Vibes Cartel, he's fairer than me. with all kind of blotches and splotches all over, like he
Because the
look like
black
he's
wants to
suffering
come
from,
back. And when it comes back, it's going to
some
come
leprosy.
back worse.
Yeah. So that is my point.
Yeah.
We suffer from an inferiority complex. And our leaders, as high and mighty as they try to pretend to be, they show it when they step into any conference room. They're ready to acquiesce.
Just go along, go with the flow.
Because they feel, I have arrived in the proximity of my superiors. They don't like to hear it, but if you don't want to hear it, then show us that you're not that way inclined, because so far that's what we see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Any parting words?
Nah, I have something here I want to read before we go. Just quickly, it's short. It's parting words. But it's from the president of Colombia, and this is what he said. There is no superior race. There is no chosen people of God. It is neither the United States nor Israel. The chosen people of God is all of humanity. End quote. And that's the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro.
Yeah, well, good words. And it's good to see that that's coming from a Latin American leader. Maybe they are finally waking up to the fact that you need not to better your race by diluting your ethnicity.
Exactly.
Okay, so I still have to wait because Simeon has decided to just freeze up and is looking at me
Technology.
and not moving. So, boy, I tell you, you what do they say? It's a good, what they say, fire is a good slave but a bad master. Yeah, technology is good for you, but there are times when it can work against you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I found this clip recently, right?
But I have to run because I have to go do something before I head to work.
Okay,
Remember,
you don't have to run before I play this.
Okay.
Right? Let me see if I can find it because I bumped into it. You remember you asked me if I had anything with my own voice? So I found this. So this is me doing a song. It's not the music is not original, right? But it's me doing a song, and I bumped into it recently. Hey, pretty lady, what are you doing? I like the way you smile. Something's brewing. Don't know where you've been, where you're going. I like the way you grew, what it's showing. I wanna be your friend. Right to the end. Yeah. So let me stop it there. You were saying?
Mr. McMahon is going to call in on that note.
No, I think he heard it sometime.
Oh, he heard it? Okay.
I'm not sure, but I played that way back, I bumped into it.
Oh, okay.
Look, over the years, I've done so many songs way back when, when I was younger, but I just threw them all over the place.
Oh, don't throw them all over the place. Put them together and make something of them.
Yeah. So you take care.
You as well, and
it
to our
was good.
listening audience, always a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. I didn't get to read much this morning. It was pretty intense, so I was doing research while the gentlemen were talking so that I can be, as I said, informed, to what's really happening.
Yeah. So you take care.
All right.
And Simeon is back up, so.
Found the sound, 98.9.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied.